Well, tomorrow's Good Friday, and are you fed up of bland supermarket hot cross buns? Well, we certainly are. So here we go, we're going to make some for you today and show you how to make the perfect hot cross bun. So these are the ingredients you're going to need to make the perfect hot cross bun. We've got unsalted or even salted butter, sugar, 1 packet of yeast, salt, mixed spice and cinnamon, 1 pound of strong flour, 1 egg, some milk, and with regard to the fruit, we're using sultanas, but you can use currants, mixed fruit, or even mixed peel if you want as an added ingredient, as long as the total comes to 8 ounces. But we always add apricots and we just chop them up into small pieces. Once these are chopped up, we'll add those to the fruit, and here we go, into the bowl. Put 2 tea bags into that bowl and then pour hot water onto the fruit and let it soak. It needs to soak really for at least an hour, but this really does then bring out the fruit and make it swell. We're better off having the largest bowl possible, even though we're making a small quantity. At least then it doesn't go all over the place when you're doing the actual mixing. So for start off, we just take the flour, like so. So that's 1 pound of strong white flour gone into the bowl. Then to that, we're going to add the sugar and 1 teaspoonful of salt. This brings out the flavour a bit. What you want to make sure is that when you add the salt, always put it on one side of the bowl, and then the yeast goes on the other side of the bowl. The salt will actually inhibit the yeast working. Now we're going to add the mixed spice and the cinnamon. You can be really generous with this. 3 heaped teaspoons cinnamon. So it's 1 heaped teaspoon of cinnamon. So the fruit now has been steeped with the tea bags for about an hour, and as you can see they've all risen up and they're just beautiful and fluffy. So now we're going to just strain off the juice, because we need to use the juice as part of our liquid that's going to go into our mix. Then of course just remove the tea bags, as we obviously don't want those. What we're aiming to do is to get 330 ml of liquid into the Pyrex jug. So the next ingredient to go in is the butter, which has been melted in the microwave. And then we're just going to top that up now with milk to at least 300, so that the liquid is not too warm. And then now we're going to add the egg, and then we can get the final quantity to 330. So just mix it in together now, so it's all as one. Doesn't look a particularly nice colour, but it'll do you good. So once mixed, now we're going to add it to the flour. At this point, you're going to work with a knife rather than using your hands, and just get it generally mixed in together. Once it's nearly mixed in, it can actually be done by hand. So now we have a rough mix. In goes the fruit. And now it's hands in and mix it all together. Working it really well, as this is a bread mix. So we need to stretch the flour, stretch the gluten. So this is now the hard work job if you haven't got a mixer. So this is the fun of making hot cross buns by hand. We're doing it this way. You can obviously use a work surface, but when you're making a really good hot cross bun, it's very, very sticky. And even though you get your hands messed up, it's just worth doing it in the bowl, because you want this sticky mixture. You want it fairly relaxed like that. It just helps the dough to rise. If you make it too dry and keep adding flour to it, it just becomes hard and more solid. But what we're looking for is a really soft dough that you can work, and again it'll just rise so well. It's now got to be kneaded for at least 10 minutes. If you can see, what's happening is that the dough is breaking as you pick it up. That is no good at all. What we've got to try and achieve is to mix that dough in so it stretches. Here we are, after about 10 minutes, you can just see the dough is now stretchy. Pulling it up, and it's really reluctant to come apart, and that's exactly what you need. That's just perfect. So the next thing is to really clean the side of the bowl off, run the spatula around, and then leave the dough itself in the middle of the bowl to rise. We're putting it in a fairly warm area and put a cloth over the top just to stop the moisture escaping. Well, here we are, here's the dough, and it's now doubled in size. Because it has an egg content, butter content and milk content, it does take longer to rise than an ordinary bread mix. So sometimes it's better to leave it overnight, or at least 6 or 7 hours, and also to cover it in cling film, because the cling film then will stop the moisture escaping. So the next stage then, of course, is now to shape them. Place them on the tray, give them plenty of space when you put them on the tray, give yourself plenty of room so they've got a chance to expand again. And then just slightly flatten them down like so. They're all now on the trays, and we need to put them in a warm place until they've about doubled in size, or until they're roughly touching each other, and that could take 2 to 3 hours, and then they'll be ready for the next stage. The next stage is to make the pastry crosses. 2 ounces of flour and 1 ounce of butter or margarine, and then make it into like a crumble mix. So this is what it should look like now, nice and crumbly and ready for the water to be added. So just keep adding water till it turns into paste, really. So the paste has got to flow, because it will then be piped onto the hot cross buns. So the consistency should look like that. It should just about fall off the knife. It's fairly runny and ready for piping. This is what we do to make a homemade piping bag. Just get a freezer bag and just cut off the corner. Take off a little bit, enough to let the pastry go through, and that's it. And then you can just fill the bag up with the mix. Now the time to put the oven on, and the temperature should go up to about 210. So here we go, it goes across, right across all the buns. You do it in straight lines. So there we go, it doesn't take too long. And when the oven is up to temperature, just place in there To make the glaze now, you need 2 tablespoons of sugar, granulated sugar, and then you add to that 2 tablespoonfuls of milk. Heat it up gently until the sugar has dissolved into the milk. It doesn't have to boil, but as soon as it's dissolved, you can actually turn off the heat. So 15 to 18 minutes later, they're cooked. And don't they look delicious? Now for the final stage, and that's just coating them now with a brush, pastry brush, coating each one with the glaze. And boy, do they smell good. Can't wait to try one. So finally, here's the finished product, fully glazed and just started to cool down and really ready to eat straight away. So we better get tucked in because we've got 15 to eat this afternoon. The smell, beautiful. Right, better take a bite now and see what it's like.